What's up, everybody? This is the Pitside Podcast, episode 11. I'm here with Roger Craig. We've got a really great show for you here. We've got our newest broadcaster, Jake Fluman from Whiskey Oval TV. We're going to talk to him here in just a few minutes. And we also have one of the kind of voices of our league at this point, for our drivers at least, Andy Patton. So we'll talk to him towards the end of the show. Look forward to it.
Welcome to the Pitside Podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the G-Force Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Now here's your hosts, the A-Lit Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bassman Craig.
Yeah, so we're back here again. Fun weekend here. I think we're going to probably try to keep our episode as short as possible. We've got some good interviews coming up here.
We got two great interviews, and Jake Fluman, who was just come on board, in the last month or so, and really upped this game, and a great interview with him, and a phenomenal interview with Andy Patton. So don't go away. Make sure you watch the end of this, because Andy's is great, and we had Andy on this week especially because Andy served, and the day we're taping this is Veterans Day or Remembrance Day in Canada, and we had him on as a tribute, and but it's a great interview, just a great guy, and so stick with us through this.
Yeah, and I think after talking to Andy, I think we realized that Andy probably in a pinch could replace either one of us. And I talked to him briefly after we interviewed, and he said, I hate being on camera, and I'm somebody, which I don't know if anybody's going to believe this, because I do feel like these podcasts have gone very well, but I also am the same way. But there's just something kind of natural about the podcast, so it seemed to suit him pretty well. So it was a great interview. It went a little longer than most of them do, but that's just because we get on pretty well with Andy, and he's a pretty interesting guy. I think you guys.
It was all interesting. So
yeah,
and as it's a good interview with Jake, and just give everybody a chance to get to know Jake Fluman, and maybe we should go there right now.
Yep, sounds good.
Well, we're really excited this week to have our newest broadcaster, Jake Fluman, on with us from Whiskey Oval TV. And of course, we'll have to find out the history of that name. And I knew Preston would be a big fan. Yep. So welcome to the podcast, Jake.
Hi guys. Hey Roger. Hey Preston, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was going to the fridge right between the race we just ran and doing this podcast, and I was starting to get a beer out of the fridge, and I was like, probably shouldn't do that. So I went to the freezer and grabbed whiskey instead.
Good deal. Yeah, man. Whiskey and Coke. That's my go-to drink.
Now,
where did that name come from? Is that give us a little history there?
I have no idea, man. I just like whiskey, and I like oval. I like oval racing, so Whiskey Oval, and then just gotta throw in the TV there. So that's just how it came about.
And so how long have you been broadcasting?
Been broadcasting, I think, for about 4 months, maybe 5 months tops. Wow. But man, just kind of took off. Page really blew up, and man, I just been having a whole lot of fun with it.
Yeah, you've really got some chops for only doing it 4 months. I'd have guessed you'd been doing it years. In fact, I hadn't had a chance to talk to Roger about it, but I didn't know if you had some like real life experience or something.
No, I have no life experience. My favorite way to watch NASCAR races is actually muting the TV and listening to the PRN guys and the MRN guys. Same thing with baseball, man. Just the baseball broadcasters, how they describe the wind out in the outfield and the uniforms, stuff like that. I just absolutely love. So that's how the broadcasting thing came about.
I thought you were going to say that you turned down the NASCAR race and do it yourself.
Oh, no, goodness, no.
No, that would just be weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be very weird.
So I have to agree with you, though. I guess mostly for nostalgia, but I remember, riding to the dump on Sundays with Dad, listening to PRN on the radio,
Right.
And it's a different ball game.
Yeah, it is, man. Just how those guys call it, and all the descriptions that those guys use, man. It's you can just use your imagination and just go with it.
For sure.
So, how long have you been in iRacing?
So I started iRacing probably about 2 years ago, but then I took I was also in college, or I was just now coming out of college, transitioning, to a new job and moving out of state from Oklahoma to Texas. So I kind of got away from it. But since this whole quarantine thing, a lot of guys jumped back on during the whole quarantine COVID stuff. So that's when I started getting back into it.
Now, are you racing at all too, or you do just broadcast?
Yeah, so I race quite a bit, just official races and stuff. Monday nights is when I race, so I don't broadcast or nothing. I'm pretty dedicated to a league on Monday nights. It's a NASCAR asphalt oval.
You can give them a shout out. That's competing against our Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night. It's on LSR TV. You can watch us. It's a No Limit Racing. We just started the chase, and I was the top 12 making it into the chase, and I was lucky to be the 12th guy to make it in. So we just had our first race in Las Vegas. I was doing real good, battling for top 5 with 3 laps to go, and got caught up in a really bad wreck.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I know the feeling.
Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, it's been fun. iRacing has really improved over these last couple years.
So do you predominantly, I mean, it sounds like when you race, you predominantly do asphalt. Do you predominantly broadcast asphalt racing as well?
No, I don't really like broadcasting asphalt. Dirt track is where it's at for me. That's just what I really like to watch on TV as well. But dirt track is a lot more exciting than asphalt is.
Oh yeah, it's high intensity, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and at asphalt too. I like to broadcast. Wednesday nights I broadcast with Doug, and I absolutely love it. But most of the time I broadcast by myself. So doing asphalt by yourself, you really got to ramble a lot, and I just don't like to ramble. I really like to call side by side racing and be as descriptive as I possibly can. And dirt track is where it's at.
Well, Roger,
that's amazing.
Roger and I can relate, right? So this happened last week too. Roger and I have been stepping all over each other, but Roger and I can relate. We have broadcasted. We have a Roadrunner series that runs on Sunday evenings. It's a Skip Barber road course, and Roger and I were racing in it as a team. We have like a constructors championship like F1, and we were racing it as a team, and we were absolutely terrible.
We sucked.
And we said, well, we like to be part of it, but there's no point of us being on the track. So we said, you know what, we're going to just broadcast it. It's one if we do it ourselves, we don't have to go out and find sponsorship, right? We'll just do it. And we got 3 races in, and I told Roger, I was like, man, I just can't talk that much. Like, I can talk a lot, but finding when it's road racing, it's all spaced out. We've got Steven Spies and Bobby Rafferty at the front who battle for most of the race. And then everybody else is, there's 15 seconds between everybody else. And there's just nothing to talk about. And it was just, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Asphalt oval is one thing, but man, when you jump into some road course racing, that is a whole different ball game of, talking and not so much, I don't want to use the word rambling, but yeah, you really got to fill in some time there.
We call it making shit up.
Yeah, I was gonna say you really got to do some research. So you got some subject matter to talk about ahead of time. But we're sprint racing. Like for you, just being in 4 months and the job you're doing on sprint racing, which is like so intense. That's incredible, man. That's awesome.
Oh, much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give you a chance to make some friends and make some enemies here. So you've been working with us for I think is it 6 weeks now? 5-6 weeks. So are there any drivers who have stood out to you, like as the big guns in the Elite League?
Yeah, I mean the guy that won tonight, he stands out about every race.
Brandon Schultz.
I was gonna say wasn't
Schultz.
sure, but that had to have been Brandon Schultz.
Yeah. Brandon Schultz always does. Sabeski is always in there as well. There's a couple more guys I can't think of their name right now, but about the halfway point, you kind of start seeing the regulars slowly move their way up. It doesn't matter where they start, if they had a bad heat race or and they had to start way back in the A main. But yeah, about the halfway point, you usually start seeing those regular guys move up and up.
Oh, yeah, and so that would make sense why, because about halfway is when I started falling back.
Yeah. That's when I usually start slamming the outside wall, or start getting tired, or start thinking about something else, and that's when it usually goes downhill.
Yeah.
So, racing backer. So we can get into one thing here. You're an Oklahoma boy.
Right.
So as soon as you say Oklahoma, first thing that comes to mind is Chili Bowl. So how many Chili Bowls have you been to?
I've been to, I think, 8 of them now. I've been to. It may be 9. I know it has not been 10 yet, but I'm pretty sure it's about 7 or 8. So my birthday is January 8th, and the Chili Bowl is always ran, I think, that second week of January. It's in the Quick Trip Center, or the Expo Center, I guess what it's called now. And yeah, so it's usually snowing around that time too. I've been to a couple of them where it's just completely snowed on the ground, and we're doing some dirt track racing inside. But yeah, I've been to quite a bit of them. I've been to the Swindell whenever he won the 3 in a row, I think it was. So that was very cool to see.
And the last few with Chris Bell and Kyle Larson have been spectacular.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson. I know he blew his engine 2 years ago, and then he finally was able to capture it last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember the interview they did with him after it was the year Christopher Bell won 3 times, and they interviewed Larson because he was right there, right? And man, he was like, I've never seen Kyle Larson so like beside himself. It was devastating, right? He was really pushing for it, and it's always him and Christopher Bell, so it ought to be a good show this January.
Yeah, I think it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think it was him. He said, Daytona 500 is like the pristine race for a lot of those NASCAR guys, but for a couple of them, the Chili Bowl is their pristine race.
Well, Larson,
that is the number one race that they want to win.
Larson said that on the podium this year about
there it is then.
I don't think he said screw NASCAR, but he was kind of, this is before he was banned, but it was just like, sorry NASCAR, nothing compares to this, or something like that.
Well, and we heard Justin, I don't know if you were there that night when we were down in Volusia, but Justin Haley won a late it was a UMP modified race down in Volusia during the Dirt Car Nationals, and he basically said, he's getting ready to run his first Xfinity race, at Daytona in a few days, and he said, I'd love to go win at Daytona, but I'm not sure it'd mean more than this. And those guys with dirt track roots, that's always those big races, man. That's where it's at.
So I think I was telling you, Jake, earlier, and geez, I'm trying to remember his name. You know me and names, Preston. But there's a Ben Coolsh, but it's his dad. So we got a father-son that race, and the son is serving in the military. So he's all, and then they get in the track and they can race together. But anyways, his dad plays the anthem on the horn at the Chili Bowl.
Oh,
so
wow.
you've probably seen him. For the big race, he plays trumpet, I think it is. So
I think it's the trumpet as well.
Yeah, he's in our league, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That is cool.
Let's see if we can get him on a live broadcast.
So, hey, speaking of Chili Bowl, Preston.
Yeah, so I guess now's as good a time as any, and actually I was just talking to Jake about this a little bit too. But as under the umbrella of Epsilon Sprint Wraps, I am going to be running a Chili Bowl Nationals of some sort in January, right around the event. There's still details to come. It will likely be a one-day event, but a long day. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier. I know when we ran our charity event through G-Force, I guess it was last week, or I don't know, time's flying by at this point. Yeah. But the week-long events can be a little bit hard for some people. So I'm going to try to do one big event, where we might have 4 or 5 sessions in a day. I'd like to do it the day of the Chili Bowl, but and maybe Jake can answer the question. I don't know what time the racing starts on that final Saturday, so I don't want to overlap that. My goal would be to have it done before that racing starts, and then everybody can go fix their chili and turn the Chili Bowl on the TV.
Yeah, the Chili Bowl, these last 2, maybe 3 years they've been televised now for those C, B, and A main events. So the A main usually kicks off right about midnight Central Time, so about 1 o'clock Eastern is when the A main starts to roll. So it's pretty long Saturday for sure.
Yeah, and so that's another thing, and we'll have to find out if Tony Stewart's doing the track prep, because whenever Tony Stewart does the track prep, it takes just a little bit longer. I know he gets it good, but you get a lot of shots on TV of Tony pointing at things, telling people what to do.
Yeah, they do, and I notice after the C main they work the track, and then the B main they work the track, and they do some driver intros, and they do that for the C, B, and A main. So it really kind of drags out ever since they televised it. But yeah, there's like the last year I went to it, I was there for 5 hours, and they raced 3 times for the C, B, and A. So it's a very long event.
Yeah, well, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was this past year where they actually, maybe it was in between days, they actually were having some trouble with the track, and they got in contact with iRacing.
Yeah,
because iRacing
year,
had come in and done a scan of the track, and they couldn't figure out why they were having trouble in one of the corners or whatever. I don't know if it was like with water bleed or something like that. And they got a 3D scan sent back to them so that they could figure out where to put more dirt on the track. And I mean, it really speaks to, I know there's some things that aren't super realistic about iRacing, but there's some things that are unbelievably realistic. You know, if they can repair a track based on that, it's crazy.
Pretty cool. So, hey, Jake, just change the subject here for a minute. So we had trouble getting you started with the broadcast for a very good reason. Do you want to tell us why there was a bit of a delay before you could come aboard with us, an event in your life?
Yeah, so I had a little one. Me and my wife had our first child. She is about 2 months old now, so that put a little bit of a stop to the broadcasting, kind of slowed things down, but for a very good reason.
Absolutely.
And, but yeah, man. But thanks for bringing that up.
No, congratulations,
man. We're very blessed.
That's awesome.
And that's one thing you'll find is we try our best, and I think you probably noticed it by this point, to be a community league, and we have a Facebook page just specifically for getting to know your other drivers and stuff. Yeah. So feel free to slap some pictures in there sometimes or whatever.
For sure. I was able to. Her name is her name is Bristol, so I was able to convince that name in there. So it is Bristol Lane. So, but yeah, we are extremely blessed.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Great name. Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, how many nights do you broadcast a week?
So right now I'm doing 3 nights. I try to leave Thursday and Friday open just for special events. I know a lot of leagues do like, Knoxville national races and stuff like that on Thursdays and Fridays. So I leave Thursday and Fridays open, but Monday nights I race, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Sunday night.
Okay, so you can't come out and join us with the Skippy cars racing on a Sunday night because you're broadcasting?
Yeah, sometimes. Right now, I'm actually open on Sundays nights. I'm still trying to adjust to this new lifestyle that me and my wife are trying to get into. So Sunday nights are still open, but yeah, Tuesdays and Wednesdays right now.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Jake, I have an almost 2-year-old, and I'm still trying to adjust too. So things are always changing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'll get back to doing Sundays or not, but it's a fun ride at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, road course racing is what I do on Saturday nights. I actually race a shifter cart on Saturday nights. So road racing I really like. The CR8 that iRacing has now put into the simulator has been an absolute blast. I've been loving the Corvette.
That's awesome. Yeah. So and so what in your non-virtual life, what do you do for a living?
I'm a technician. It's a instrumentation and electrical technician. So I do a bunch of instruments and I program a lot of stuff. So the easiest way to put it is I make that big red button make everything stop.
So is that like PLCs and stuff?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
very
PLCs,
cool, man.
Alan Bradley, if anyone is familiar with those.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Hold on, I gotta find my phone so I can Google and keep up with you two. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
You're a computer guy, for God's sakes. You're a computer. It's PLCs, man.
What is a PLC? I don't know what a PLC is.
Tell him, Jake.
It's a programmable logic controller. It's basically a ginormous industrial size computer that you can program up to open and close things. And
I don't do machine language, so I'm
okay.
I do more.
Did you see that thing Malcolm's Mills just posted? As one of our big sponsors. He put a whole bunch of PLCs up in this. It's 160 feet up in the air. I don't know. He had a picture of it. That it's just, it's pretty crazy to be doing stuff up that high. But yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, no, I'll have to go check out that post.
No. Yeah. That's cool. That's a great career, and it's not going away anytime soon either. That career, so that's great.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So I don't know if we want to keep going or we want to let Jake get back. It's like we've got John Shorty, who was in the race tonight. He just got a new one too. It's about the same age, I think, maybe a month older. So his life has been adjusted, and he doesn't quite get on the track as much as he used to. But all for a good reason. It's our motto in our league is family first. So it's all cool. So that's great.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah. Ever since I joined G-Force Racing League with you guys and broadcasting with Doug, man, it's been an absolute blast.
Well, we've really been happy to have you, man, because it's high quality, and you guys got it all covered. And you'd think you'd been working together for years.
Yep.
Still can't get over you've only been doing it for months, so it's only going to get better. Hard to believe. That's great.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I put a lot of thinking into it. I probably think about it a little bit too much at work instead of instead of thinking about work. So, but yeah, I mean, I've upgraded my PC quite a bit to bring that quality, and same thing with the internet. And but yeah, man, I just absolutely enjoy it, and it's been a very fun ride.
Well, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we'll have to have you back again. And the only one we're missing now, we've done Doug. We got to get Joe White on here one night, and we're really happy with the broadcast teams we've got. It's all good quality, and I know we get good feedback, especially on all you guys broadcasts. So just thanks for coming on board with us. Really appreciate it, and I love watching. I go back and watch the broadcasts because they're excellent.
Oh, very cool, man. We'll appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, Preston. Next week, Wheat Sports, man, for Wednesday night, man. That's gonna be
we're screwed.
That's a love-hate relationship.
We're screwed.
It's a very
you go down the straightaway. You go down the straightaway, and then you take a left turn down the alley. It's awful. It's gonna be terrible.
So I don't know if you realize, Jake, but Doug Elkins raced there one year at Wheat Sport, so he's got an inside perspective of the track.
Yeah, I know he was saying right there at the end of the stream that he lives like 15 minutes away from Wheat Sport.
Yeah, so he's a broadcast there, I think, and but he also raced there, I think, one season. So and his daughter races, but I don't know if she's raced at Wheat Sport. But anyways, I as soon as it came out, I bought it, and I got the 360. I couldn't even get it out onto the track. It's kind of like what do you call it, Lernerville, where you bang into the guardrail trying to get out. Well, I couldn't turn it right to get on the track. I had to back it up. So I don't know. It's either me or a few other people said the same thing. So it could be a bit of a gong show, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I practiced for about 5 minutes, and then I found that big ramp right smack dab there in the middle of the track, and I just see how fast I can go and hit that.
That's what I've heard.
We have a very similar tradition at Lernerville. So as a team, right, we when the race is over, you finish that last lap, and then you go off turn one and see who can go clear the billboard at just off turn one, and then you clear the map. So if you're ever broadcasting that and you see all the Kreitz Racing guys going off the track at the end of the race, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Or I always try to hit the boats. See if I can hit the boats down in the gully.
For sure.
All right, Jake. Well, we appreciate it, but
awesome,
it was
guys.
great to meet you like this, and we look forward to hearing you next week and try to salvage the the broadcast on Wednesday for
Yeah,
what might be a really rough race.
We're gonna find it. We're gonna find out how good Jake is next week with
That's
Weed
right.
Sport, covering all those cautions.
Yeah, good deal. Next Wednesday, Weed Sport, 9 o'clock Eastern, man. So, but yeah, I will. I guess I'll talk to you guys then.
Talk
For
to you then.
sure.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, so that was a pretty great interview there with Jake. It was good to get to meet him. I'd gotten to speak with him briefly. I know, Roger, you've had a little bit more chance to speak with him. I'm handling some different things on a race night basis, but Jake's a pretty interesting guy, and I think we mentioned that we're going to be getting Joe White in to do an interview at some point too. I don't know if Joe knows that yet. But hopefully he's watching. I think he watches these. I also have an idea. I think at some point we should take Joe White, because Joe Backus, who knows when he'll be around.
No.
We should take Joe White, Doug Elkins, and Jake. If we're busy, we'll just throw them in here and let them run the podcast. They don't even have to know they're doing it, because I can tell you, Roger and I have both gone into the broadcast room after a race with them, and an hour goes by like it's nothing. I mean, they talk for a living, so who can blame them? But but it could be a little hard to get away sometimes. So those guys will be our fill-ins when Roger and I decide to take a vacation. Those guys will fill in.
When you get in, especially with Joe and Doug, you get in the room to try to say something. It's hard to get a word in edgewise. Those guys are jabbering.
Oh, I know. I'll hop in the room. So there's been a couple of nights where Roger has been, off driving or something, and I'll just go check on him before a race starts. And they have it covered. And that's a great thing about everybody that we've had broadcast for us. Once they get one down, they get it covered. But I'll go in just to check on them, and they'll be in there talking about something. They don't even know I'm there. Like, they have no clue. And I'm like, and finally, and Doug is usually the one that catches it. He'll go, "Oh, I think Preston's here," and so then they'll give me a minute to talk, and then I'll tell them whatever I need to tell them. I leave, and I know they go right back to whatever they were talking about. That's pretty funny, but they would make great fill-ins, I think, if we ever have to leave.
So we've got, I got to say, one of the best interviews. We've had great interviews through. I think. I'm sure everybody enjoys it because you're getting to meet the different drivers in the league. But this next one is extra special, I think, especially on this. Well, it's on this. You're seeing it on Sunday. We recorded it on Veterans / Remembrance Day, so it's special that way. But it's special anyway. So you got to check this one out.
Yep, and so we're going to go talk to Andy Patton right now, and it's really a privilege because Roger and I both consider Andy a good friend of ours. And so it's nice to get to spend some time with them, and I think everybody's going to really enjoy it. So we'll jump over there right now. All right, everybody, we're back here, and we've got our good friend Andy Patton with us. How you doing tonight, Andy?
I'm doing pretty good. Some really good racing in the Elite Series tonight, huh?
Yep. We've I think we've had a lot of good racing lately. Tonight didn't go as well for me as I had hoped. I kind of blew it, but overall it was really good. Roger and I were talking about that, in the break. Yeah. And I think we had maybe 3 cautions and a real long green flag stretch in the middle. So it was fun time. You hate to lose some spots, but it's good racing nonetheless.
So we should point out that Andy is the admin for that series. So it's that calming voice, I think, brings all those green flag laps out,
There you go. I enjoy watching them guys race. It's like, for me, that's like being at the races sometimes, watching some of them guys wheel them cars around there. You guys, it's crazy.
Well,
I don't know how you do it. Got to be, I don't know how they do it. Guys like Schultz put it on the wall and just keep it there and just run away from everybody. I'm like, how in the hell are you doing that,
Yeah,
I know.
It's pretty fun to watch.
It's pretty annoying to race against, though.
Yeah, about it. I hear you.
Yeah, so we are also filming this on Wednesday, November 11th, which in the United States is Veterans Day. In Canada is Remembrance Day. And that was one of the reasons we've been talking to Andy for a while about getting him on the podcast, but it just seemed to make good sense because Andy did serve in the armed forces. So, Andy, if you want to kind of share just a few minutes about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was U.S. Air Force from 1981 to 1992. I got out right after we got back from Desert Storm. Um, it was fun. I had a really good time. I spent a lot of years in Germany, 6.5 years in Germany. I was a crew chief on F-4s, F-15s, F-16 fighter jets, and it was just never a dull moment with any of that stuff, you know. And, you know, it culminated with Desert Storm, and when we came back from that, things had just changed. You know what I mean? They just weren't the same. You know, it's hard to just go over there and let it all hang out like we did, and then come back and have to be just back to being normal. It wasn't the same. You know what I mean? You can't be the same after you do something like that. You know, so. You know, and then I had some issues with some health issues, you know, whether it was anthrax or whatever, something that they gave us over there, or something we got exposed to. I got pretty sick from it. So, you know, I really didn't want to get out, but at the same time I did, and I kind of needed to. But I'll tell you what, I miss it to this day. It's been 30 years, you know. Almost 30 years since I got out, and I still miss working on those jets and hearing that noise. I mean, I had my engine run license where, you know, you could actually start them up and run the jet engines and everything. And oh my God, it was a ton of fun. Yeah. I had a blast.
Yeah, I think you told me one time you went up in, was it? Which
both
one?
The F-15 and F-16. Wow. Yeah. The F-16, I have somewhere around here, I have a patch of doing a 9G turn. It's
9Gs.
You can't imagine what that feels like, because I mean, you know, just pulling 3 or 4 Gs is something, but when you know, because what they do is they go really fast, they kind of dive, so you get a lot of speed, and then he just hits it and freaking just turns it as hard as he can, and everything goes like this, you know. All of a sudden it starts turning red, and then it starts turning black, and then you get it right there, and just about there for me, he unloaded, you know, because you would pass out.
Right.
You know, and the jet because you can do that kind of G forces and everything, the jet has a sensor in it that won't allow you to over G yourself, the pilot. He can't over G himself. So as soon as he gets to a certain point, you know, where if he passes out, the jet will automatically straighten itself out so he could come back, and it's an amazing stuff.
Man.
But yeah, we did all kinds of stuff, the max climb and upside down, and dog fighting with F4s, and it was fun.
Now, if you keep going, we're going to end up having to change our podcast weekly, because this is maybe a little bit more interesting than we've ever been. But oddly enough, and so I like to tell this story because Roger and we've told the story on the podcast about how we found out we were in Volusia at the same time at the Dirt Car Nationals.
I bought that shirt. You were there when I bought the shirt.
I should have
never met each other.
Yeah, I haven't had, and it was just this crazy story. Well, so. When we were forming, and the team was already somewhat formed, Coast to Coast Racing, we approached Andy and asked if he'd like to join the team too. We have a good time palling around, and that's Coast to Coast. That's what it's always been about. We're as much, you know, buddies as we are, you know, drivers, right? So we asked Andy to join the team, and he'd been on the team for a couple of weeks, and we were just getting to know him. And he mentioned that, you know, he served in the Air Force, and then I don't even think it was the same day we talked about how he'd been at Desert Storm, and then that he'd been a crew chief on F-16s. And I was like, well, that's kind of crazy, because my uncle, they called him Digger, his name's Chuck Davis, was an F-16 pilot in Desert Storm. So we found out that, obviously I don't know, you know, the exact logistics of it all, but they really served together over there and were probably, you know, in contact, which it's just, I'd never met Andy before, ever, and it's just this so small world, and it blows my mind. It makes me think I live in the Matrix, quite frankly, but I don't know.
Your uncle was a colonel, right?
Yes, he retired as a lieutenant colonel. I don't know what his rank was while he was in Desert Storm.
He was actually my squadron. See, it's separate, because I was in the maintenance side of it, but overall it was a 69 TAC fighter squadron. He was the commander of the whole squadron during Desert Storm.
Yeah.
I actually went to, after we got back, we got invited to go to General Electric, who makes the jet engines for them. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the ones that, you know, he had all the stories about like the first night of Desert Storm and all that stuff, and it was just amazing what some of the stuff they did. There were so many airplanes up there that their biggest concern was whether they were going to hit each other, because they don't have the lights on, so they can't really.
Right.
The only way you can tell is by radar, and there were so many airplanes that the radar was just one big glob. They couldn't pick out the other airplanes. So he made a decision to tell everybody in all the flights to just turn on your lights. Stay where you're at, turn on your lights until you can see. And it's amazing. Nobody hit each other, I mean, that first night there must have been, I don't even know, 400 or 500 airplanes in the air all at the same time, all heading to Iraq,
Yeah.
Crazy.
I remember watching a video. I was a kid. It was a VHS tape of, I know it was of him. I believe it was during Desert Storm, where it was like like a tape from his cockpit, and taking out some targets and stuff. And I mean, it's like what you see on TV. It really is like
a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they called it, because CNN every night on CNN was the smart bombs, because that was when they first started using them, the pinpoint bombing, and it was like a video game to people watching it on TV. They didn't realize that for every bomb you dropped, there was people getting people dying from it. But it was pretty cool.
It's wild. I mean, it's still futuristic to this day too. That's what blows me away.
I think we got to have Andy come on again just to get into this more. Like we could be talking about this all night long here.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating.
It wouldn't be hard for me, I'll tell you that much.
No, so I think we need to do that. But we should cover off some other things. Well, the one thing just visually here is I see some mounts on the wall there.
See my big hut?
Well, but I'm curious because you've missed a lot of racing in the last few weeks, and I don't think there's any meat in the freezer to show for it.
No, there's not. The son of a... I'll tell you what, it's brutal. In Northeast PA right now, man, I'll tell you what, I have put in so much time. I'm going to go out again tomorrow morning, but man,
Buddy,
it's been really rough. They're all nocturnal still, and the rut hasn't started yet, not around here anyway. So, but it should start this week, so,
when I drive to Florida, I've seen more dead deer on the side of the road in Pennsylvania than anywhere.
They are. My wife on the way to work every day, she sees them all the time.
She sees all the ones
they're getting hit at night. Because that's when they're moving during. I mean, I see them. I go out like fox hunting at night and stuff, and you go out in the woods, and there's the freaking bucks all over the place. The deer are everywhere. As soon as it gets daylight, you don't see any of them again.
Okay, so I'm not a hunter, but I got nothing against it. But so how many points is that or whatever? Because I'm not
that one is 11. That one's 11. That one is a big 8, and the two in the middle are both 9-pointers. So one's from last year. That one was from 2 years ago with a rifle.
Oh, okay, so they're fairly recent. It's not like they're like 30 years old and collecting dust. You actually have
one up there. I didn't actually start. When I was in the military, I didn't hunt at all. I hunted when I was a kid, and then the whole time I was in the military, I didn't hunt. And then it was a few years after that I didn't hunt. But these are the first ones I've ever had mounted. Those two. I have actually I have one from last year that's that's at the taxidermist now. It's another 8-pointer like that one. But that deer right there, I don't think I'll ever shoot another one like that.
So I'm going to interrupt just slightly because I want to I'm not a hunter either, but I live in the sticks, so everybody hunts here. Roger, do you know how the points are calculated? Like, do you know what it's?
I think, is it not how many tips on the
Yeah,
antlers?
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Each one has to be at least an inch.
Right.
If it has to be, that would be a 12-pointer, except right in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. Right in the middle, the one brow tine, he was fighting. And he broke it off. So he would be a 12-pointer if it wasn't for that.
The other big thing is the spread, right? So between the two farthest points, you want the biggest spread you can get to.
Yeah, the one thing they do, like for state records for Boone and Crockett and all that stuff, is they actually measure everything. And it goes by the mass, how thick the tines are, and then the total length. They measure everything. There's like a science to it.
No, nobody's got time for that.
Yeah, I have no idea how they do it.
It's more complicated than fishing, man. I'll tell you. So
that one they said was 160, 163, which there's been deer around here shot that are over 200. So
I haven't been 163 for years.
Yeah,
I haven't been 200 for years.
I haven't been 160 for years.
So okay, let's talk about iRacing, just to throw something out here. So
is that what we're here for?
iRacing, what the hell's that?
When did you get started in iRacing?
I actually started about 3 months before the dirt tracks came out. So I think I started in February of 2017, and the dirt tracks actually came out in June of that year. So it was a little more than 3 months. So I've been on these dirt tracks since the very beginning,
Yeah. So I got in when the dirt came out. I heard about dirt coming and got in just about that time. But what I remember is being in the official races and always seeing this Andy Patton name in there. And you were like comfort food, because I always knew, okay, there's one guy in here that's going to race clean and race good. So it was, and then when you joined the league, it was awesome. I thought, okay, this guy, he's cool. So that's been great.
I used to have I had my days back, but it seems like, I don't know what it is, but either the competition has gotten 100 times better. I used to be able to win all the time in officials, and these days, forget it, man. I mean, it's tough to run even in the top 5 in any of these,
Well, you're probably getting the higher splits too, right?
Well, yeah, I don't get how that works either, because my I rating isn't that high, but I guess because I have an A license, it automatically puts me in the freaking higher split every damn time. It's
Well, it could also be an age thing, buddy.
yeah, it could be.
That's
Could
what I
be.
marked
I got to
mine
race
down.
against all these damn kids. Yeah,
I could have been up there with Brandon Schultz and stuff, but I've just aged out.
yeah.
That's my story.
Personally, I choose not to. I mean, I don't really want to. There's guys out there like Corey Wetzel and the Simmelmans and them guys. I could be there if I wanted to. Run with them guys, but I choose not to. I'd rather have more fun and stay in the back of the pack and see if I can get somebody to run me over and put me in the wall. Shit like that. It's just a lot of fun.
That was your Monday night for sure. We had this awesome setup, and poor Andy never got a chance to try it because he got run over.
God, 3 races. I don't think I got 8 laps in any of them.
No,
actually, I did. In the feature, I think, because I started dead last. I started last, and I was up to, I think, 10th or 11th or something like that, and bit me again, man. It just seems to be the way it's happening.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
How you gonna do?
No, you ran good. You ran good in Gauntlet.
I did. I just needed a little bit more. If I hadn't bounced it off the friggin' wall, I think I might have been able to run up there in the top 5. And it's nice to have a good run like that.
Yeah.
And be able to finish it. You know what I mean? If you can finish in the top 10 with this quality of guys that are racing, that's saying something.
Yeah. Where do you speak? So the Gauntlet, you finished. Was it 8th or
8th? Yeah.
8th. Yeah. So and I think So it was that was a real good run. Real good run. So
yeah, it wasn't bad.
It's you got them in you, buddy. It's just avoiding the carnage.
Well, I'm gonna pad my lead tomorrow in the 305s. Those are my favorites. They're just my favorites to run. I don't know what it is about them. I guess there's more technique involved in driving those little cars with less horsepower, to get them around there fast. But I just have a ton of fun with them.
I'm hoping to be home tomorrow to give you a run for that. So
all right,
we'll see.
Come on.
Bring it on.
So
is that my favorite track too at the Grove? Good luck.
Yeah, that's well, I would have told you before yesterday or Monday that was one of my least favorite tracks, but then I ran so good Monday, it's my favorite track now. And next time we go back, it'll probably be my least favorite again. But that's how
funny
it goes.
how that works.
Yeah, it's funny. That's the way that Lernersville was for me. I couldn't when it first came out. But I can probably say that about just about every track.
Right.
because there's such a learning curve with some of them. But Lernersville, there's a real learning curve. You go over the top so easy at that, and you can't be fast unless you learn how to run the top.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those tracks that'll make you a better driver by the end of it, right? Because if you make a mistake, you pay the price. The other tracks, you can bounce it off the wall a little bit here and there, and sometimes get away with it. And so I think if you get a guy out there that starts running Lernerville compared to somebody that starts running Lanier, which is a garbage track, the Lernerville guy by the end of it is going to be the one that wins almost every race between the two of them.
Oh yeah, because he can rip the top.
Right.
You know,
exactly
you got to be able to rip the top without touching the wall, because there ain't no wall to, you know.
There ain't no
Right.
wall. No.
I watched. I raced against in a race with Berger. I didn't race against him. I didn't catch up to him, but I watched Bergeron do that. Come off of turn 2, went up over the berm. I don't think he ever lifted off the gas. He went up off the track, stayed on that thing, came back into turn 3 and shot down across turn 4 and never missed a beat. Didn't lose the lead. I mean, he was completely out of the ballpark and came right back on the track. And you know, I'm like, dude, how do you do that? You know. Yeah. He I don't think he ever even let off the gas.
No,
you know.
Yeah.
There's just some of these guys got so much talent. It's amazing.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah. So not only is Andy a great teammate, but he's been doing a ton of stuff for the league. Like I said, he admins a bunch of races, and seriously, it's that calming voice, the casual voice. I forget what the one race. The one race it was about last week sometime. I forget what you said. It just cracked everybody up, but it just chilled everybody out.
I can tell you exactly what it was. I don't remember who it was, but it might have been Sebeski, but I'm not sure. It was during the charity event, and he apologized to he said, "Oh, sorry." He got into somebody. He goes, "Sorry, so and so," and it ended up not being that person. And he realized that he goes, "Oh, sorry, so and so," which was also the wrong guy. And he finally apologized to, I don't remember, maybe it was Clevenger or somebody. He goes, "Sorry, man," or "Sorry, Clevenger," and Andy goes, "Damn, dude, how many guys did you hit?" And everybody keyed up their mic just to laugh over the mic. I mean, it was perfectly timed, and it really did, because that could have been a very tense moment, right? Yeah. Because when guys are starting to get together, tensions go up, and it really just kind of cooled the room down, and it settled the race out, and it was one of the best races of the charity event. And so, I mean, it makes a difference. It really does. Some
of the guys though, like Chris, I've raced with him almost since the beginning, you know, years ago, and you got to know who they are, and he's definitely one of the cleanest drivers you'll ever run across. Right. You know, so for him to do it, I just was going to joke with him one way or the other, but as soon as he did it the first time, I said, "That ain't who you hit." And then he did it 2 more times. I said, "Dude, what are you doing?" I said, "Come on." I had to bust his balls.
Hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
So the other huge thing that Andy's been doing for the league is we're looking at it right over your shoulder there, A&J Custom Trophies, and that's one of the latest, greatest. Your work just keeps getting better. You were showing us a couple earlier. Show us that one you did for that other league that John Hines in. Not that one, the other one, yeah.
This is just one of the ones I did for was it Bootleg
Racing League?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. They do a what's it called? Moonshine Challenge event, and I actually watched a little bit of it. You know, it's Grand National cars, and this guy right here, this J.R. Shepard, he's something else. He's quite a driver. He came from the back in that race and just passed everybody, and he you know.
Now, has he seen this trophy before, or is this the
no, I don't think he's seen it. Oh. Lowell, who runs the league, is the one I've been talking to about it, and I just sent it to him today. It's just finished. I just finished it today, and I'm getting ready to mail it to him. Should be able to mail it to him tomorrow. So, yeah, no, he hasn't seen it yet. He doesn't. I don't even know if he knows he's getting it. So,
that's
cool. This isn't until Sunday, so hopefully he'll. It's not like the stuff you sent up to Canada that took 6 months, but anyways,
he's not bitter or anything.
No, we could get on a sidetrack of that. Talk about all the places those things went to, but the other one, you've really upped your game here with this new trophy.
Yeah,
These are just awesome.
These things have they actually came out really good. You know, sprint cars. I mean, I did a sprint car. I've done a late model, and you know, you can do it from a picture, and that's what this was. This was just a picture that I was using for the league trophies.
Yeah.
And I took that picture and I you know, cut it down and cut it out to size and used the laser engraver to actually cut it out, and they really come out nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I can put whatever anybody wants on it, you know. Yeah. Which is that's a nice thing about that laser. I'm really glad I bought that thing, because it's something new all the time. I mean, if you can think of it, I can probably make it.
I was just going to say that, you know, that people out there should realize that, yeah, if you can think of it, you could make it for them. And, you know, Christmas is coming, and they nice, unique gift ideas for sure, you know, something that people wouldn't have. So I'm really, you know, you guys won't make me a participation trophy. So I think I may have to order one of those special just for myself.
Yeah.
And it won't say participation. It'll just be my own.
Yeah,
thing. So it's
you know,
spectacular. They are.
It's just something I really enjoy doing too. You know, it's funny to sit there and to design it on a computer screen, and then put it in the machine and watch the machine, especially laser. I mean, I have a CNC machine too, and it does a nice job. But when you watch the laser, you're looking at it, and it doesn't do it like in order. It's all over the place. It's up here, down here, and you look at it and like, well, what the hell? And then to watch it all come together, and then in the end, it ends up looking like that. It's like, holy shit, look at that. It's pretty cool to do.
You got to throw like a time-lapse camera, like a GoPro or something on that thing, and capture a video of that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I have a camera on it that I just got for it, because you can actually, I'm not sure exactly how it works. A lot of this stuff is real new. But you can actually use that camera, take a picture of something, put the picture in there, and the camera will actually load it into the software and cut it for you. So I'm not sure exactly how it works yet, so I got to play with it. But
between you and Tom
Taylor
and his 3D printing, I mean, this is all spectacular stuff.
Well, I'll tell you something. That's my next thing, I think, is that the 3D printing, because you can make anything. You can make parts to build something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's guys that use 3D printers to make 3D printers. You know.
Yeah.
And that's where.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do, because I want to be able to, like, with my my CNC machine, I want to be able to rebuild that and make my own parts for it and build it my way and all that crap. So.
Well, and so that's it's you're right. 3D printing has always intrigued me, and I probably have told this story on the podcast before, but I'm kind of forgetful, so I'll just repeat it. But one of the things with my job, I get to go to CES most years, and they always have a big 3D printing section, and we actually visited a booth who had some parts there that Joe Gibbs Racing had designed.
Oh yeah.
They're like drive shaft pieces that they would machine in a 3D printer and test the design of the part by putting it on the car, because the plastic they use is it's rated for so much to be so strong. They throw it on the car. It was good for maybe 60 laps or something like that before it would fail. So they'd go out and take 25 laps, and then they'd take another one that they shoot the thing might have been printing while they were taking the first 25 laps, and then throw another one on there. It's absolutely insane. And now that you can, they have the meltable material, and so you can print movable parts that are already put together. They print them in one solid piece, and then you dip it in hot water, and the meltable stuff goes away, and you've got interlocking pieces that can't be broken apart. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's right now, the technology, I think, is still fairly expensive, but as it gets cheaper and cheaper, machining things is just going to get so cheap, it's going to be unbelievable.
And you're talking about tolerances down to the 10,000s.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So for cup cars and guys like that to make their prototypes. I mean, I don't think they can build anything yet that'll. Well, they probably can off a CNC machine. They probably take that same part, the drawing for that part, put it on a CNC machine, and make it out of steel. But it's going to get to the point where they're not even going to have to do that. They'll be able to build it right off right off a 3D printer. Just throw it in there, put it on the car, and it'll last.
Yep.
I mean, that's the key to it. They got to be able to last that kind of, 500 miles.
Yeah, it's a heat issue mostly.
Yeah.
So before we go here, because I mean, we can't be here all night, but Preston, you always have your question.
Yep, and I'm gonna ask it. So,
right.
Who, and it doesn't matter what division we're talking about. You get to pick, but who would you say is your biggest rival in the G-Force Racing Leagues?
Oh man.
We're trying to create some narrative here, so if you got to make somebody mad, go for it.
Who's my biggest rival?
Yeah.
That's hard to say. I don't know. I gotta have to say Greg Boydell. I raced with him a lot. We seem to have the same talent levels. He's fast and I always seem to be right around him in points. And I always seem to be right around him on the track. And so that's probably who I would say.
Yeah, and
it's fun to race against.
Those are the same reasons when I answered that mine was Terry. It's the same thing. We always find each other on the track. He might start at the back and I might start at the front or the other way around. But by the end of the race, we've probably spent 10 or 15 laps battling against one another. And I can see that there for sure.
Yeah, Greg's a good choice because Greg's been around the league since the very beginning and probably races more races than anybody in the league. So and Andy's always in a lot of the other divisions. So you come across, and I know I come across Greg, and he's just that much quicker than me. So it's he's younger than me. That's the problem. So, but yeah, exactly. It's
a cop out. That is an absolute cop out. So
we're gonna have Greg on in the next few weeks, hopefully too. So
the call out has been issued. I believe Greg will be on next week, if I'm not mistaken. That's the plan.
Before Joe Backus.
Yeah, before Joe Backus.
Yeah.
And Andy can tell you Joe is the real person.
Before you get Joe Backus on here again.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was saying Andy can confirm, and because I have some concerns that our general viewer thinks we've made up this person, Joe Backus. I mean, it seems like he's not a real person. If anybody has questions whether Roger and I are making things up, you can contact Andy. He will tell you that Joe Backus does
exist.
He's a real person, and so Andy can confirm that for us.
I'm not sure I can. I mean, I only see him, and it seems like every time I see him, or I talk to him, one of you two is never around. So is he a real person?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All
right. Well, now the conspiracy theories are out, and we're going to be here for another half hour.
No, Joe's a good guy. He really is.
Yeah, but he just is not big on podcasts, apparently.
No, I can't.
If he does exist.
Well, it's been absolutely awesome having you on. In fact, I think you could probably be a regular with us at any given week.
You're coming back, Andy.
You'll be back. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm sure everybody else will too. We really appreciate you coming on, buddy.
I had a blast, man.
Yeah.
No, you got to be one of the most popular guys in the league, absolutely for sure. So,
it's fun. I mean, it's a great league. I've been in a lot of leagues, and this is by far the best run, best quality of driving or racing of any of them. I'd like to be doing a little bit better. I'd like to be able to run up there. I'd like to get in the Renegades at least, but my God, you can't run 12 laps a night and expect to get into Renegades.
Well, hold on. If we go back 2 seasons ago, you had qualified for Renegades, and you chose because you were admitting them.
Yeah.
And so you said, no, I'll stay down. And so, you're your own worst enemy in that case.
Yeah. And now this competition, season, I'm not going to get there. I don't know. I do I like admin in it. So it's just as much fun to do that,
At least you're doing really well in the Rebels. I'm struggling to stay in the damn division.
I'm not. I'm 13th or something.
Well,
I
like
was
19th.
12th or 13th, and I think I'm going to drop again now. Well, probably.
Oh yeah, after this Monday, yeah.
But
well, we're all
Rebels,
everybody's gonna drop come Monday.
we were talking about that Monday night. The quality of the guys that are running Rebels even now, is really. I mean, there's a lot of good guys. All
Yep.
You know
top 10 drivers every night or every week are really good quality drivers.
I'm looking down, in the Raiders division even, and if I was down there now, I would have trouble getting out of it because that racing has improved dramatically this season. Yeah. So it's
and it stinks for us as drivers, and I have to, I guess, be careful because I was fortunate enough to get into Renegades early, and it's easy. It is easier to stay where you're at than it is to move up. I mean, and it should be that way. But I mean, it really speaks to what we're doing. I mean, it individually it's tough to swallow, but man, is our league killing it? I mean, and we really are. I go into officials occasionally. I don't race them a whole lot, but I do typically, for whatever reason, I run into other drivers from our league, and they are always at the front of the field, always. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one, because we attract the right kind of drivers. But two, I think people improve by racing with us. I really do, and it's very exciting.
But I struggle even Rebels, to crack the top 10, consistently to be able to run in the top 10. But I can usually run officials, and I can run in the top 5. I mean, again, that's tiered. You're not, if I'm in the top tier. I'm usually not up there. Sometimes, it depends on the track, but the quality in this league is way up there. It really is good.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Andy, we'll let you go, buddy, but thanks a lot. And like I said, I mean, you can come back next week if you want. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem. Thanks, man.
Yep.
I had a blast. Take care.
Yeah, it's been great, buddy.
And thank you for your service. I know everybody will echo that sentiment.
Absolutely.
But we greatly appreciate it. We have a handful of guys in our league that served, and we want to say thank you to them too. There's not enough words to say that would do it justice. So, just thank you.
I want to echo those thoughts. I mean, I say the same thing. Thank these guys for the sacrifices that it takes to. I mean, people don't realize it. What's involved and getting deployed all the time and being away for years at a time, there's that's quite a sacrifice that people do. And
yes, it is.
And the fact that it's all volunteer, there's nobody there that doesn't want to be there, and that says a lot for young people in our country.
Yes, it does.
I think you you made a good point that it's not just a sacrifice they make overseas, it's the sacrifice that they've made when they come back, and it's still
I mean, ongoing. Things change. You get when you come back from overseas, you're usually, I mean, it depends. I mean, like, there's peacetime overseas and then there's wartime overseas. I mean, if you go to Afghanistan, or those guys that went to Afghanistan or Iraq, or they're not going to come back the same, and the thing about it is too, you can't just, it's not just them, it's their families got to, that sacrifice too, and they kind of get left out a lot of times, but families probably sacrifice more, because if you're in the military, you train for it, and you're going to do your job, and you know what your job is, and you're there in the moment, and whatever happens. But for the families that are home, that spend 24 hours a day wondering, am I going to get this phone call? What's going to happen? And it's tough on them. I would say that it's well, I know for a fact that it's tougher. It's tougher to be home than it is to be in the military doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Just can't thank you enough, buddy. And we're really glad that you came on.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
You guys over here, you're doing a hell of a job too, by the way. You know that, right? You really put together a terrific league, and it's a bunch of good guys in it. I'm happy.
It's the guys that make the league. Guys like you who admin and do all the other stuff and the trophies and all that stuff. It's just amazing, really, the group of guys we've gathered here. So,
kudos. Keeps it enjoyable.
We'll have you back, buddy, for sure.
All right, man. I'm going to come back with my next buck.
There you go.
I'll send some pictures to you.
Sounds good.
Hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed now and get up in 4 or 5 hours and go out in the woods.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Good luck. Good luck with Bambi, buddy.
Yeah, I'll get Bambi. Bambi's next. Let me tell you something. If I don't find a buck, I'm going to shoot Bambi here pretty soon. I got to have some meat.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care, man. So, I told you that was going to be a great interview. That was it was just awesome. I think everybody will agree with that. And we've had 2 great interviews tonight, and people don't have to listen to you and me too much tonight. So we're giving everybody a break.
Yeah, I think that's probably a nice reprieve, at least for this week.
For them, yeah.
Yeah, right.
You and I just want to keep talking, but we should stop because we've had such good dialogue already. Why ruin it?
That's right.
But just before we go, though, I just want to point out we're running down. They're getting to the end of the season. There's only 2 or 3 weeks left. Everybody, keep an eye on your IL. This is it's that time of year or time of season when you want to make sure you don't drop a division because your IL is too high. And a reminder that Raiders is 0.250, Rebels is 0.225, and Renegades is 0.20. So if you want to move up, if you're in the top 5 or whatever, you want to move up, that IL has to be at the level of going up, and you certainly don't want to be higher than what your league requires, or even if you're in first place, if it's high, you're going down. And attendance too. Make sure you show up. The guys that show up all the time get rewarded. So with the better racing, and that also applies to the elite division. So they're going through what the other divisions went through, a bit of a struggle as it kind of gets settled in that you got to be a little more conscious of driving a little more carefully and backing off, using that other pedal that's called a brake. So just be aware of that in the next couple of weeks. And the other one I just want to throw out is, we're starting to plan our schedule for next season. So we're looking for sponsors. We can't broadcast without sponsors. So if anybody out there is, looking to help out the league, that would be a great way of doing it. Then approach me or Preston, and we'll get it all straightened out for you. So again, it's been a great week and a great week of racing, and looking forward to next week and next week's podcast as well.
Yep. And just, I do want to back up just briefly because I want to make sure everybody understood, because I wasn't sure at first until you explained it. So if and I'm going to use you as an example because Roger's in Rebels, if somebody doesn't know that. If Roger was in the top 5 in Rebels, in order to move up to the Renegades, he has to have the IL of what's required for Renegades. So that's a 0.20. So as long as he's got a 0.225, he can stay in Rebels. But in order to complete the transfer up into the higher division, you have to meet that requirement. And Roger did say that, but I'm more clarifying for my own sake than anything, but just to make sure everybody understands that. That's obviously only going to affect 5 people per division, but it's important to know how that works anyway.
Well, the going down part can affect a lot.
Yeah.
Like right now, I know before tonight's race, the elite division, there's 10 guys in the top 25 are over 0.25. So there could be a massive change there. And, that's we're sticking to our guns. So you got to drive more carefully. Now, a lot of that was because of bull rings they were on earlier on. But, there's no excuses now. Everybody knows what it's about. Everybody's gotten used to everybody driving with each other. And, so just take note of that.
Yeah, and I do think Elite. I mean, I think if you went back and you look at it, I think the ILs are slowly ticking down. They just need to tick down faster, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it's definitely gotten better. Tonight was some great racing. John Short and I had a great battle for a while, and then Jack Clevenger and I actually had a great battle. I think he had some contact early on, and he was able to kind of move his way back through the field. And then I hit him. Luckily, I didn't take him out. I took the worst of it. I felt pretty bad about it, but. It's getting better, and
Yes, it is.
So we want to encourage that too. It's not doom and gloom, but it's a real concern because we've got to stick by our rules. And Roger and I have talked about this. Renegades used to be in a very similar situation where we were experiencing lots of cautions, and we had to come up with a plan. And it's really where the review committee kind of came from too, and we have some systems that are involved in that. To make sure that we were putting out quality racing, and I don't think that there's anybody out there that would tell you that there's a better league as far as the quality of racing than Renegades right now, and that's our goal for Elite. We need to get it there, but it can't be instantaneous. So we need help from the drivers because that makes it faster.
And Elite, they had 5 cautions. I think they've been averaging 5 cautions, which is not good. Our other divisions are 2 or 3. But having said that, I think the last race before the charity race was caution free, and tonight I think there was only 2 cautions in 30 laps.
It was 3. Oh. We had 2 real quick early, and then 1 right at the end. Yeah. But still, I mean, it happens at the beginning and the end of the race, right? It gets crowded, so.
So it's going in the right direction. I was looking over all the numbers last night in all the divisions, and I mean, like the majority of the guys are all, there's only like 2 or 3 here or there that
Yeah,
they could move down. You hate to see it. So
right.
Anyhow, that's my lecture of the week or whatever bad cop thing. So but it was a great episode, and we'll have to have Andy back again because we could have talked all night.
Yep, I think you're right. We won't like you said, we're not going to drag this out a whole lot. I do think you're onto something. I think we need a bit that's Roger's lecture of the night, and so you can pick something each week to pick on everybody about. Because quite frankly, we probably need to do that anyway. But we appreciate everybody watching. It's been fun as always. Thank you to Jake. Thank you to Andy. And thank you everybody for watching. The support we get from everybody watching is incredible. It's nice to get messages on Sunday afternoon, from people saying it's a great episode. Comment on us, chat with us, right? I know we don't do this live. Roger and I aren't good enough to do this live, but we enjoy reading your comments. So as you see something you enjoy in the show, please
or don't enjoy.
Yeah, let us know. We want the feedback. I don't really want that feedback, but I guess Roger's a masochist like that. So Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you back here next week for episode 12.
So before you go though, if you want to have my, this used to be Coach's Corner in hockey and all that stuff. So this could be Old Miserable Bastards Corner in our session for when I do that.
Yeah, you could do that. I know Coach's Corner didn't have the sweetest ending, so just maybe play your cards a little bit more carefully than Don Cherry did. Anyway,
exactly.
Have a great Sunday, guys. Go watch the Masters if you're watching this in the morning. Go watch the Masters, and then we'll see you Sunday night for the Skip Barber series, the Road Runners.
Yeah, come out and join us. It's great.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.